You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday, September 29th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A ton to talk about, I should say, as always, on a Monday. What a great weekend of sports and football. Baseball's postseason starts up tomorrow. The Ryder Cup was interesting until the very end, despite the slow start for the U.S. So a really fun show ahead to get your week started. If you're watching us on YouTube live, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Make sure you're subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Tell a friend or two or 20 about what we're doing here in the Quad Cities every day. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us, so I appreciate you guys checking us out on X as well. And, of course, the audio form, the podcast version of the show is out each and every day. You can check it out on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. Just put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo and check out the show. Don't look at us. Don't look at me. Check it out in the audio form as well. Also want to welcome once again for our second week our viewers from Central Iowa. Excited about that. Plenty to talk about this week as well. It's a bye week for the Hawkeyes, but a tough loss on homecoming. We'll talk all about that. Got some Iowa State stuff as well. They're 5-0, so a lot to get to this week right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. As I mentioned, it was a crazy college football Saturday. If you missed it, we did our college football post show. Myself and Tom Kakert kind of broke down the Iowa-Indiana game. We also talked about Illinois on there, Iowa State as well. So if you missed that, you can check that out on the YouTube page on X as well. But we're going to continue to talk all about it today. Coming up in just a little bit, the radio analyst for the Iowa Hawkeyes and our good friend Pat Angerer will join us for his weekly Angerer segment. We chatted last night, so we'll get to that in just a second. A lot to talk about when it comes to Iowa football, not just this past week, but moving forward to the bye week, and then, of course, what's to come after that. So Pat Angerer coming up in just a matter of moments. Obviously, it was a huge Saturday in Champaign after a really bad week against Indiana a couple Saturdays ago. Illinois bouncing back in a big-time way, knocking off number 21 USC, doing it in crazy fashion, building a 2-touchdown lead, losing it towards the end, and then kind of getting that last drive by Luke Altmaier, who played fantastic, and winning. So coming up, Kedric Prince will join us to break everything down when it comes to Illinois. What's next? What's it mean for the future? Trap game coming up maybe against Purdue, that rival Purdue, which I roll my eyes about because it's one of protected rivalries, and for me, I get annoyed as a Quad City and wanting to see Iowa, Illinois every year, but I digress. So Kedric Prince coming up later in hour number 1. In hour 2, we'll kind of take a look at the high school football Friday that it was, and a huge victory for Monmouth-Roseville, and an apology that I have to give. So Jeremy Adolphson will join us in hour number 2. I can apologize to the Titans, and we can talk about their victory, and more from week 5 of the high school football season. Crazy to think, but we are more than halfway through the high school football season. It feels like just yesterday we were doing previews and talking about what we expected and all that kind of stuff. So the high school football season, as it always does, is flying right by. Week 6 coming up on Friday. And then, of course, the last segment of the show, we'll talk a little NFL. We'll talk a little Bears, Packers, Cubs, everything else with my good friend John Marx. A little Marxy Monday. We'll kind of give some opinions on stuff we saw, stuff we didn't see, all those kind of things as well. So a jam-packed show for you once again here on a Monday on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, coming up, we have Off the Air on Friday. We'll go on the road. Last week we went to Rock Ridge. Had a blast with the Rockets. The Rockets a big victory this weekend over Newman. We'll talk more about that throughout the week. But this week we're going to be heading to beautiful Browning Field. It's Rock Island Moline week. A huge rivalry game at Browning, and Moline's playing some of the best football in the entire state of Illinois, knocking off and shutting out Quincy on Friday night. So we'll hit the road and head to Browning Field coming up on Friday. We mentioned a lot of football going on, but baseball is beginning. The postseason will start on Tuesday. It's the Cubs and the Padres. The Cubs get home field advantage for the best of 3 series starting on Tuesday. An afternoon game, a 2:08 start at Wrigley Field. So Cubs, Padres, all eyes will be on that. And the entire baseball postseason, we'll preview that game and the rest of baseball tomorrow here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, Ryder Cup this weekend. The Europeans retain the Ryder Cup 15-13. Obviously, the United States spotted them way too many points. It was an interesting Sunday. U.S. got right back in it, played really well, but it was Shane Lowry making a big putt to beat Ben Griffin that sealed the deal for the Europeans. They retain 15-13. We'll talk some golf throughout the week as well right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So a lot to get to today, a jam-packed Monday as always, and we're going to start with a little chat we had last night with my good friend and Iowa radio analyst, Pat Angerer. And so joining us now is the radio analyst for the Iowa Hawkeyes, the one and only Pat Angerer, doing this on a Monday, like the old days. We used to do this every Monday. Thanks for doing it. I appreciate you.
Yeah, this is a Sunday. I want you to know that. I want the people to know that this is a Sunday.
And I'm lying to the people by acting like it's live. I'm a liar.
You're typical media, man. It's just what you did at your previous job. You know, slide to the masses.
So, something like that. How are you doing this weekend? It was rough on Saturday, but it was good at the same time. Does that make sense? I mean, there was a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of
good
100%.
things, but obviously the end result wasn't what we wanted. Kind of just talk about the headline that you take out of the weekend when it comes to Indiana, Iowa, great atmosphere at Kinnick Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I don't write headlines. I make headlines. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I mean, first of all, yeah, the atmosphere was phenomenal. Like, and I posted on Twitter, like there were times I couldn't hear myself talk, and it was just so great. Like the fans really made themselves known. They made themselves a part of the game, and our players fed off it. And gosh, even the 85 team, when they went out there, like they were getting the crowd pumped up. And that was, to me, like that was so cool. Cause I think about like me and the dudes going down there. Hopefully we're all still around at that age, but, like that was that. And they had to like hush them off the field. Like they wouldn't leave the field. And, but yeah, the game, man, it started out about as bad as you could have started out. You know, the interception, then they scored in 2 plays, and it was just kind of like, oh man. But the guys didn't back down, man. They kept fighting. They drove the ball. Nobody's driven the ball on them at all this year. Like it was a really, really impressive what our guys did, and had some really tough stops on defense, did good on 3rd down, extended drives on offense, everything that we wanted to do, that we needed to win the game. Unfortunately, obviously had some turnovers, had a block punt, gave up some big plays. Like those are things that you can't do. Really, we gave them, I mean, at the end of the day, we gave them 10 points. We gave them their first 10 points with the interception and then the penalty there at the end of the second quarter to put them in field goal position. But I'm extremely optimistic about this group. I like this group. I think they're hungry. I think they're together. I think they have good leadership. Honestly, I was heartbroken for them. I was heartbroken for them and the coaches, the way it ended. But I mean, I earned a lot of respect. They earned a lot of respect. I think they should, at least from everybody that watched that game. I mean, they put up a dogfight, and it was just a fun game. It was a game. Me and Gary were talking. We're like, hope this game never ends. Like, I hope it never ends. It was just such a privilege and an honor to call, and so much fun to be a part of. Wish we would have won, but yeah, I think there were a lot of good things that happened in that game, and hopefully we gained a lot of respect from people outside of Iowa football.
You're right. I was down on the field in the second quarter for that touchdown drive, go up 10-7. And I'm talking to some other people down on the sideline. I'm like, this is going to be a classic Kirk Ferentz, grind this thing. Fourth quarter is going to be tied, figure out a way to win and all that kind of stuff. And it looked like that. And it's funny, I left after they scored that touchdown with 22 seconds left. And by the time I got back up to the press box, it was 10-10. And you mentioned the way it started, which was bad. The end of the half was unfortunate as well. And if you're going to give a team like that 10 points, that's tough to give away and do those kind of things. Just the beginning and the end. I mean, the middle was so good in the first half, and you felt so good going into halftime. But that end of the half, I hated. I'll say it. I hated the pass, or not the pass interference, but the roughing the passer call. Hated it. I mean, he was blocked into him and he bumped him. But your thoughts on that? Because I think there was a ton of momentum, and it kind of lessened a little bit after those 3 points right there.
Yeah, no, I agree. We had a lot of momentum, and then it just kind of died down a little bit. I didn't really get a good look at it. Haven't really checked it out so much.
Bad.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't see the roughing the passer really, just on replay, and it kind of looked like he bumped into him. I don't know if he was blocked into him or not. Didn't seem malicious, but I don't know. You got to be smart. You got to be careful. Who knows? I haven't watched the film yet. Got to check it out. But I'm always going to err on the side of the Iowa guys. The thing that kind of upset me was them throwing a fit when Wampa hit their quarterback on that third down and he went out of bounds or whatever. And I do understand. I understand having your quarterback's back. He just took a shot. Wampa smoked him. I get it. You have to do it. But we have the right to then defend our guys too. And I don't know. I just felt like he got jumped over there on the sideline and the refs didn't do anything about it. And you can't do that. And then I don't get the call. They called us for encroachment after that. I don't understand that. That was a weird deal for me.
The flag came so late that I thought it was something on the sideline. And then all of a sudden they're like encroachment. I'm like, well, you threw the flag 5 seconds after the play. So It was different. It was interesting, but I agree with you with all of that as well. Pat, in the second half, it was, like I said, it was coming down to that Kirk Ferentz special, if you will, fourth quarter. And I'm not throwing Hank Brown under the bus at all. I think it's a tough situation to go in and all of those kind of things. But we've talked a lot in recent weeks that Mark Gronowski was growing with this team and the leadership that we both love and to be able to move his legs and use his legs a little more. I think it was super unfortunate he got hurt. And I think it was a game-changing sequence that happened. And you probably agree, obviously. That guy was playing good football, and I don't know if the result's the same with Mark, not taking anything away from Hank Brown at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a tough time to hurt him, for him to get hurt. And, my gosh, he did what he could to put us in field goal range, to get us down there. And the guy's a winner and he's a competitor, and man, it's tough seeing him get hurt, because I think he is the heartbeat of our team. I really do. I think he's somebody that brings everybody up. He's somebody that everybody relies on and counts on. So hopefully he heals up quick. I don't know about the injury at all, but I don't know if it was knee or lower ankle or whatever, but hopefully he heals up quick, because I love watching him play and I love watching him compete. And it's a tough position for Hank to get into, a big game. And obviously at that time when he was in the game, they knew we were going to pass, right? They kind of knew that, it was, we had to pass the ball, and, he made some good throws, and he dealt with some pressure, and it's stuff that he can definitely grow from and improve from. And I mean, I think about James Vandenberg when he got thrown in against Northwestern when we were undefeated. He must have been crapping himself, and it probably was a similar situation with Hank, but I thought he went in there and he competed and bowed up and made some good throws, and we had a shot, but just couldn't get it.
I want to talk to you about that defense, because I'm just assuming you're up in the booth loving life, watching those guys fly around the football. And we mentioned Indiana. They came in averaging like 1 million points a game, I think. Maybe 500,000. I don't want to get carried away. But that defense played so well. And you maybe gifted 10 points in the first half to them. But the fourth down stops. The interception by Lutmer was huge. What did you see on that defense? And maybe after people got cranky after the first half at Rutgers, nothing to be cranky about with those guys right now.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say we gave them those 7 points because that really wasn't on the defense, right? They were put in a tough situation on that first one. But no, man, I love the way the guys flew around. Cohen Intringer, man, what a beast. What a freaking beast on those fourth downs. Holy moly. He's somebody that's been super talented for a long time and had a tough injury last year and just been trying to work himself in. And as soon as he got on campus, everybody was like, this dude's a beast. And I'm so happy for him because he's a really good guy. I'm sitting around practice every once in a while, and he's the only one that came up to me after practice and was like, hey, essentially like, what can you teach me? Like, what do I need to do? Like, how do I need? And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. But to be fair, I don't know anything. So just keep doing what you're doing. You're way better at football than me, and you're way smarter than me. But I love the way the guys competed. I love the way they flew around. That offense was averaging 600 yards a game and 50 points. Really, really impressive. Really, really, really impressive. And it's stuff they can grow on. There's obviously mistakes that they made, and there's things that need to improve on. Threw a lot of blitzes at this quarterback. So our corners were in a tough spot a lot of the game. And for the most part, they did really well, and they competed hard. And we got off on third down, which this Indiana team, and they had more first downs than anybody in college football. And we got them off. We got them off on third down, which is really cool, and got them off on fourth down as well too, which led us to a touchdown. So yeah, there's a lot to learn from and a lot to grow from as well too, but there's also a lot to be proud of.
Pat Angerer joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We did a post show, very popular. Everyone loves it.
Post pod.
Yeah, I get people got cranky with me a little bit. I got a few, people coming back at me because they want to paint doom and gloom and end of the world and all this kind of stuff. And I get
I just don't see that, man.
Well, I get the frustrations, and you want to win games, and I get all of that. But now here we are, a couple days removed, or a day removed if it's Sunday night, like you just exposed me on. But you've lost to, or Iowa has lost to number 12 team in this nation by a late score, and the number 11 team in the nation by a late score. In my opinion, it's not that bad. It's unfortunate you want to be 5-0, but like the doom and gloom is just, it seems a little much to me. If you could talk to Iowa fans right now, and you can because people love this show and they're watching in droves these days. But what would you tell the Iowa fan that's frustrated after a 3-2 start?
Well, we lost to two top 15 teams by an average of 4 points, which is pretty impressive. And one, it was at their house. Now, I guess some would probably argue that safety doesn't really count, but I'm counting it. I'm counting that safety, which probably costs a lot of people some money. But no, man, this group reminds me of that 2008 team. My 2008 team. We lost a lot of tight games. We were in a lot of games. We're just trying to figure it out. But we grew and we got better. We got better throughout the year and ended up going on a pretty long winning streak. And in that year, I think we're one of the best teams in the nation. I think this team has the opportunity to do that. I mean, think about it. We had 2 interceptions. We got a punt blocked. We gave up a couple big plays, and our quarterback got hurt, and we were still in this freaking game. Like, we were still in this game.
Yeah.
Like, this is a tough group. Like, this is a group that battles and fights, and like, this is a group to root for. This is a group to get behind. So no, I'm super optimistic, about these guys, and I'm proud of them. Like, it's, you watch these games as a guy that played for them and did what they did. And like, you're proud of them. Like, you really are. You love the way that they represent Iowa football, and it's how you want it to be played. They play freaking hard. And that's what was so tough for me about the loss is, like, I wanted it for them. I wanted it for them. I wanted it for Coach. And it was just unfortunate that, they didn't win, but hey, that's life, and you got to move on. And bye week seems like it's came at a good time, but we've got to take this and kind of catapult us to having a good season and getting better and improving.
You mentioned that '08 team. I know you're modest. So that '08 team turned into the
second
'09
best team in Iowa history.
Yeah, it turned into the '09 team, which is the greatest team in the history of the world. Correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah, I'll
where
tell you
this
what,
thing's
though.
going.
I think that 85 team, gosh, I just love the fact, I'm going back on that, they had to kick them off the field, which was so great. It was so freaking great. Those guys, I mean, and Hap Peterson, Bettendorf Bulldog, guy that I love, Mark Spranger, Billy Happel, like all those guys. That team, I don't know if maybe they mentioned this on TV, that team had 9 guys become Division I head coaches.
It's crazy.
I think it was 3 players and 6 on their staff. Like, just what a group, man! What a freaking group of dudes. But no, I'm proud of these dudes. I'm proud of these guys, and I really do think they still have an opportunity to make it a special season.
I will say this: you were pretty good on the Hawkeye Tailgate show. Dan McCarney was outstanding. Like, I could listen to him. And the best I said, I go, you talk to the guys for 30 minutes. I only have 30 seconds. What did you tell him? Well, he couldn't care less about 30 seconds. You know, he told me, and like, I just wanted to run through a wall when I got done. Like, Rick Coleman was on the show too, and he joked, and I think he was serious, that he was going to pick Indiana. And after listening to Coach McCarney, he picked Iowa, because that's how much he sold him on what Iowa was doing. It's the bye
Coach
week.
McCarney's great. Coach McCarney, he was my first offer when he was coaching Iowa State. It was my first offer, and he was just super kind, just great and honest. And it was really hard telling them no, because Iowa State treated me with a lot of respect, and I thought Coach McCarney ran a good program and did things the right way. But very happy that I didn't go to Iowa State. That'd have been weird. Everyone's weird up there.
Did you remind him when you talked to him that he offered you, or did he remember, or did it even come up?
I didn't even come up, but
Okay.
no. When I talked to him as a Hawkeye, because he's a Hawkeye. So we don't dwell on the Iowa State thing.
I love it. Pat Angerer joining us right now. A couple more for you before I let you go. I feel like you're in a forest adventure. You got like some crickets. You know, I'm waiting for like a bear to come up from behind and you start wrestling a bear, which would be good television. So
yeah, I hope so.
If you could do that, that'd be great. That'd be great. It's the bye week.
No, I've had a busy day. I had a busy day today.
I love it. It gets your mind off of stuff and just have fun with the family. You've been busy. It is the bye week. I'm going to ask you about you in the bye week in a second, but with this team, and they got beat up a little bit. I mean, they did. They had some guys go out. We mentioned Gronowski, but Bo Stevens went out. I don't know if he came back in. I can't remember, but some other guys, Harrell went out. I think he did come back in, but Dunk, I think, was beat up a little bit. During a bye week, and I know you want to be out there playing every week, but you were a player. What do you get out of bye weeks? What were bye weeks like for you? It was probably only one back in the day when you were there, but what do you get out of a bye week, and what does this team need to do during the bye week to be better when they take the field against Wisconsin?
I don't remember having bye weeks. I don't think I did have bye weeks in college.
You don't remember what you had for breakfast. You don't remember what you had for breakfast today. So
yeah.
In all fairness,
I really don't think maybe we did. Maybe we did have a bye week. I don't know. It's the same week. You got to get better. Obviously, we're nicked up. And it comes at a good opportunity for us to kind of get healthy, get better. But really, a bye week is you want to maintain the starters, but you also want to build up the guys that haven't seen that much time playing. So this is a good opportunity, kind of that developmental group, to develop them and get them better and get them kind of caught up, because I mean, gosh, who knows? You might need some of these young guys to step in with some of the injuries we have.
All right, before I let you go, we'll talk more about this during the bye week, maybe next week. But I want to stay positive. What's the best story from the first 5 games? What's the most pleasant surprise, if you will, or give me some positive thing that you saw in the first 5 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at this like we talked about, man. I look at this team, and it's just a gritty group of dudes, just dudes that you can tell that they love each other. They'll fight for each other. They'll compete. They're wanting to do the right thing. I'm assuming, like, these guys are guys that I'm assuming at practice, they'll do anything the coaches tell them to do. Like, they just want to get better and want to compete, and that's why I'm so optimistic for the remainder of the year. I just think this is going to be a solid team. I've got a really good vibe about them, and impressed with how hard they play and how they overcome adversity, and how, when there were times last year we'd be down and we kind of get the ball and kind of be like, I don't know, I don't feel like that with this team. I don't. I feel like there's hope and there's fight and there's grit and there's toughness, and Yeah, I think that's kind of what I've been most proud of, because that's kind of what represents Iowa football, I think, at its core.
Last one for you. Being on the pregame show, I'm looking forward to the bye week, just to get a little bit of a break. It's demanding. It's long days, and I'm done an hour before the game. You're going 5 hours and afterwards. And what are you going to do in the bye week? What are you excited about getting done? What are your plans when you don't have to go to Iowa City or on the road next weekend?
Well, I gotta coach football Saturday and gotta coach football Sunday, and I'm gonna hang out with my wife.
Good answer.
I miss her. I miss hanging out with her. I miss hanging out with my wife. So kind of looking forward to hanging out with her. Yeah.
Hopefully, she's watching. I know she loves the show.
No,
Can't
she's
get
not.
enough of it. No, she loves it. She texts me every day, and she's like, and usually she's like, "God,
Wait,
you're
why is
having
she
Pat on
texting me?
again." Well, we'll talk about that afterwards, and then we get in. Okay, I lied. I do have one more. What does it take to get Employee of the Week around that radio press box? I mean,
I don't know, man. I tell you what. Yeah, you've got to really go above and beyond. And I don't know. We had the first 2-time Employee of the Week this week, Corey Sheets, and John Swisher won it week 2 or week 3. So, man, it's you're up there. You were close. The odds were in your favor. It's just at the end, Corey kind of pulled through. And but yeah, I'd be optimistic if I were you, maybe for a potential Employee of the Week at some point.
I had my son with me, and we went to grab something to eat after that, or I can't remember, whatever. And he's like, "Dad, what's the criteria for the Employee of the Week thing?" I was like, "You didn't notice that Pat drew the picture on a piece of paper. It's not like some voted on contest." And I'm like, "I just think it's fixed." And Corey Sheets he's going to win it probably 75% of the time. Well, how does Dolph not win it every single week? He's Dolph.
The hard part is Dolph's tough to draw. I'm gonna have to work on that.
I don't want you drawing me. That's the problem. I don't think it's gonna go well. It's gonna be Dumbo on the wall in the press box. That's no fun. So hey, enjoy the bye week. Coach your kids. Spend some time with that lovely wife. Iowa back at it. A week from Saturday against Wisconsin. We'll find out soon what time the kick time is. But enjoy the bye week. I'll bug you again next week. And be good, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, buddy. Have a good one, Matt.
All right. That is the one and only Pat Angerer joining us here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Monday here in the Quad Cities. It's a disappointing weekend, and I know people will watch this and say, well, there's Matt and Pat just defending everything. I get the frustrations, and we'll talk more about them throughout the week, and there's things that need to be corrected, and I think Tom Kakert and I did a good job of kind of addressing that on our post show. So if you missed that, go check it out. But I think there's things that can be done through the bye week to get better, but I don't think it's doom and gloom like everybody else is saying, or not everybody else, but some people are saying. So anyways, great talking with Pat. We go from maybe some doom and gloom to maybe the story of the weekend when it comes to college football. Brett Bielema and company bounced back in a big time way, and they knocked off USC, and it's becoming commonplace in Champaign that Illinois beats ranked teams. We're going to talk all about that and have a smiling Kedric Prince join us right after the break. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Monday. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. Of course, many people would think you should probably lead with these guys, and I probably should have, because the talk of college football, or at least in this area this past weekend, was the Fighting Illini. A huge sigh of relief down in Champaign when they knocked off USC, beating another ranked opponent. And a guy that was there enjoying it and now joins us to talk all about it, our good friend Kedric Prince. Ked, smile. That was a good weekend, was it not?
This is a great homecoming weekend and fun game to be a part of. Kind of stressful if you're sitting at home watching it, but that's what Illinois does. They'll make it stressful for you. But they pulled out a win, and it was great. And I like the fact that a lot of people, what's weird, Matt, times have changed. Back in the day, Iowa fans never rooted for Illinois. I have principals, teachers, coaches texting me, I'm pulling for them. And then I have to return the favor because I'm pulling for Iowa because I'm not in Indiana. I didn't mind Indiana. I'm not a fan of the coach. So I've texted a couple of them. I'll be honest with you. Kind of mad Iowa lost yesterday. I'm one of the few people who was really mad that Iowa got beat. I was driving home. Sorry, policeman, if you're listening. I was watching it on my phone driving home. I was mad. I wanted Iowa to win yesterday. I was kind of upset about that.
Yeah, you know what? I had a lot of people on Twitter or social media and some text messages of like, I can't believe I'm doing that. Not just you, but other people that were like, I can't believe I'm rooting for Iowa. And it was Illini fans, but I get it, that thing with Indiana and it's definitely a rivalry and all those kind of things. And it was fresh. I get all that. But let's talk about what we got you on here for, because Illinois, we talked last week and I thought it was really important. This game was huge, not just wins and losses, but like how they responded from adversity. And I've always told my kids, it's not like bad things are going to happen to you in life. It's not those, it's how you respond to things. And I thought Brett Bielema must have had his guys ear throughout the week, and that's exactly what you wanted to see, is a response like that. Not just the victory, but the fast start, the energy, the execution, those kind of things. Talk about the bounce back, because I think that was key for this week.
I'm not surprised. I didn't pick them to win, which I did that as a subliminal message to myself, thinking if I pick them to win, maybe or lose, maybe they'll win. I said that backwards. But anyway, I felt confident. And the reason I felt confident about it is I've told people this a million times, and Brett Bielema is not paying me any part of his rich salary. He is a really good coach. I knew this was not going to happen again. And the most impressive thing, Matt, when you look at how they lost to Indiana, everything was flipped in 6 days. That offensive line has been taking a beating all year long. Me, other media members, local, nationally, and people were, upset with the offensive line coach, Bart Miller. They were on him, criticizing him. On Twitter, I made like a little grade thing, and I'll be honest with you, I gave him credit and I gave the team credit. The offensive line from week, which I said you couldn't do, in 6 days, they did it. They opened up holes. Luke Altmaier had been sacked so many times. He got hit. I could feel it. He only got hit one time. It wasn't the line's fault. It was a defensive back that came in from a running back who missed a block assignment. Luke was protected. He had time to throw. And if you look at his passing numbers, he was 328 yards. And just so you know, and I'm probably going to jinx him, he is one of 2 quarterbacks in the entire country that hasn't thrown a pick yet.
Wow.
And the guy, Jaden from USC, was in the top 3, but he got picked yesterday. But to answer your question, Matt, the running backs ran the ball well. The receivers made plays. You saw them clean up a lot of, missed tackles. They did that in 1 week, and it's impressive. That's why he's higher and why I think he's going to be successful at Illinois.
I had a few people say to me, Ked, like Altmaier struggled against Bloomington, and almost a few people kind of placing blame on Luke, and I was the first to say, like, he didn't have a chance in Bloomington. He didn't have a chance to do anything because of that offensive line. Every quarterback you can say this with, but Ked, when you keep him upright, you keep him clean, I don't know if there's a more talented quarterback in the Big Ten. I mean that. We saw Penn State this past week and all of those kind of things. And obviously Mendoza for Indiana people. But, like, more focusing on Altmaier, he's really good when you keep him upright, you keep him clean. And he showed it on Saturday.
Matt, I want to comment, and I don't want to upset any of your listeners or people who follow me. How in the hell can you blame him for that? Do they understand? Look at the Indiana game and look at the USC game. Look at how he was able to carve USC apart when he had time. People were saying, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball. When you go to a game, when you see it on TV, it's a little bit different. But when you see it in person, Illinois struggled. Indiana's safeties and defensive back, they locked up Illinois' receivers. They didn't have anybody to throw the ball to. And I'll tell you what, as much as people criticize the offensive line, I got to be honest and not lie to people. The tight ends didn't block, and there were so many missed assignments from running backs. That all is a part of it. You can tell me that he got better like that in 1 week. Let's look at the stats yesterday. He was 20 for 26 with 328 yards. He had time to throw. I just said at the opening part of this podcast, he was only sacked 1 time. And it wasn't a lineman that did it. Luke is a great quarterback. He's really good at that pass he threw to Hank Beatty yesterday was big time. It was great. I mean, he as good as he is. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the country. I'm not even saying he's the best quarterback in the Big Ten. The guy, that Javier guy from USC, I'll tell you what, he and that wide receiver, I'm going to butcher his name here, Makai Lemon. I sat in the press box yesterday, and I was talking to people around me. I have not seen college football players connect like that the way they did. Those kids were fun to watch. Illinois beat a really good team yesterday, and they made adjustments. So people who are mad at Luke Altmaier saying he's not that good, you know what? Think back to 6-7 years ago to the alternative, or 8 years ago. Give him time, and he will carve you apart. And he hasn't thrown an interception all season long.
Quit saying it. Don't say it so loud.
Well, people are criticizing him. I'm like, you know what more do you want?
I get you.
Be happy, because guess what? He's gone next year.
Yeah. No, and it's such an important position in football, college football especially. Kedric Prince joining me right now and off there with Matt Randazzo. I want to talk about that defense because for 3+ quarters, I think, they gave up 17 points. And I had somebody say to me, like, well, they gave up 32 points. USC's averaging like 50 points a game, and they gave up 32. That's really good. What was the difference on the defensive side of the football, Ked? Because Indiana, and I know different games, different everythings, but they scored 20 points in Iowa City. They scored 63 the week before. And Illinois' defense, especially in the back end. And I think the big thing is people stayed healthy and stayed in the game in the secondary against USC. But what was the difference? Did you see tweaking and changing, or was just guys came to play and played better? That was an impressive performance on the defensive side of the football. 32 points be damned. It doesn't matter the number. That was a really good performance.
Let me start with this. If anybody is going to compare Illinois' defense to Iowa's defense, turn the podcast off and stop listening, because you don't know anything about football. Iowa has one of the best defenses, and they've had one for years. So apples and oranges. Let's start with that. the change that Illinois made, they tackled. They made plays. If you think those coaches, Brad Bielema said, a lot of people were saying, oh, just when the game's over, throw it away. He was like, no, we're going to watch it. We want it to sting. We want them to taste it. They had a come to Jesus meeting, and everybody performed. Think about it. You just stole my thunder. USC was one of the top 3-4 offensive team in the country scoring-wise. They averaged 52 points a game. So what? Illinois gave up 32 points. Quit complaining. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to light people up. That is a very good offensive team. They run really good sets. When Illinois had when they went up 14-15, I knew the game wasn't over because I know how good they are. And people need to understand, now this is the part where Iowa fans probably don't want to hear this. In college football today, if you can't score 30 points, 32 points a game, you're not winning. You're not going to be very successful. Go look at the averages of all the teams that are winning. The offenses are good. The coaches are really good. And it's tough on defensive coordinators. If you listen to the press conferences from some of these defensive coordinators, it's hard because people like Iowa yesterday, what they give up, 20 points? What was the score yesterday? I don't know, whatever the score
20 points.
Was on Saturday.
Ken, if you give up 20 points in the Big Ten, you should probably win the game.
Which is what I said. My point, you got to be able to score 32 points. You get off and people want to, look online. The statistics are there. This isn't the 70s and 80s anymore. The statistics are there. Go look and see. If Iowa could score a lot of points, I'm going to tell you, and I know the fans, this is not an Iowa show, and I'm not, Mr. Iowa here, but I'm going to tell you, their defense is good, and they're going to be good. I knew that was going to happen yesterday. I knew Iowa was not going to allow them to come in there and put up. I knew they were going to score 40 points. When's the last time this happened to Iowa? So having said that, Illinois made changes defensively. People were mad. It's easy to say you want to fire somebody. If I'm on social media covering the game, fire Barry Loney Jr., who's offensive coordinator, fire Ann Henry. What would you do differently? They're banged up. The secondary is tough, and they tackled. They kept them in front of them, and I think it was Rosiak who got the pick. You got a pick from a guy that hasn't thrown one all year long. What more do you want?
No, it was an impressive performance. Ken, I got to talk to you about the roller coaster ride that was the fourth quarter because everything's rolling and it's 31-17. And you mentioned, and I think everybody around football, I mean, they were going to it wasn't over. They were going to give you one more go at it. And they got up 15. They scored 15 unanswered, the 2-point conversion after the first touchdown. They go up 32-31, roller coaster ride. And then hats off to Luke Altmaier because you kind of felt like, Ken, with $1:52 and 3 timeouts, plenty of time to get into field goal range. So just you were there, take me through the emotions of being in the press box and then that stadium in general, the highs of going up 14, all of a sudden you might have blown it, and then to get that game-winning field goal. The field rush I want to talk to you about in a second, but forget about that because I got a whole different point with that.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the roller coaster ride and too much time to give Luke Altmaier to get back in the field goal range?
Well, I'm going to address that in the second part of my answer. The first part is this game would have been over if they didn't fumble the ball. They had a chance to.
And did they fumble? Did they fumble, Ken?
Yes. The first time, Caden Fagan did not fumble. That was a horrible call. It was just bad. Caleb Valentine fumble late in the game. So they gave them an out because that was a chance to put USC away. You fumbled, and you knew that was going to give them a chance to score. I knew they were going to get the ball down the field. Illinois did not. They didn't do a great job of stopping them. I don't want to contradict what I just said about defensive coordinator Andrew Henry and his guys. I understand that. But I knew they were going to get the ball down the field. But don't turn it over. Ball security, and I know those kids are, I know that's going to be harped on in practice, and I know those kids feel bad. That's the end of it. I knew I was sitting there in the press box, and all the people around me, I shouldn't have said this. You give Luke Altmaier 1:55 seconds, go back. If you have, I don't want to say this because I don't want to promote anybody, but there are ways you can go back and watch the games from last year. You give that kid the 1:55, 1:25, and Barry Loney, I knew they were getting that ball down the field. Let's think about it. He's had 7 fourth-quarter comebacks in 2 years. Wow. 7. Yesterday made 7. So, again, people want to criticize him as a quarterback. That's 7 that he's had come back. And then when they got the ball down the field, I think they could have scored. I think, they didn't want to take a chance to go for the field goal. I get all that part of it. But that environment was great. And the press box, for people who don't know, this wasn't me. When you're in the press box, it's a working area.
Mm-hmm.
That press box was full yesterday. And I'll tell you that one of the Illinois officials got on that press box and they laid down the law yesterday because people from USC was there. They were mad. There were people, because you're not supposed to cheer.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sit there and be neutral no matter how hard it is. And people were kind of cheering yesterday and mad and upset. The fumble, you can hear people, they'll hit the table. They were just showing their emotions. But that happens everywhere because I've been around up to seeing it every place. But it was a great environment. I just knew, I was confident. I didn't know if the field goal was going to go in, but I was extremely confident they were going to get that ball down the field. That kid is a surgeon at working a 2-minute offense.
I love the 7 fourth-quarter comebacks in the last 2 years. That's a fantastic stat. There was a celebration afterwards. People were on the field. There was a great moment, all that kind of stuff. And I had people, kind of say to me, are you kidding me? It was number 21 ranked USC, and you're celebrating like you just – it's college football. Shut up.
No.
It was my big thing. We had a post show with Tom Caker, and I do one every Saturday kind of recapping college football. We kind of focus on Iowa, but I did a couple segments with Illinois, or a segment with Illinois, a segment with Iowa State. And that was my big thing is like, shut up. It's college football. Have fun. And guess what? That felt really good because they got their asses kicked the week before. And so it felt extra special to beat a ranked opponent on their home field and do it the way they did. Quit being so fun.
Politically correct.
Quit the fun police stuff. It's college football. Storm the heck out of the field. You know what? I had my son with me in Iowa City. It was his 16th birthday, and we were going to storm the field because that's not what we were there to do and stuff. But he was talking to me. He's like, Dad, is there going to be a field storm if they? I'm like, probably, and it's cool. And like, it's the fun part of college football is being around those and being part of those. And that gets fans to come back the next week and the week after that. I thought it was awesome. Your thoughts on the atmosphere after the game?
Well, for all you old people with handkerchiefs and glasses and whatever, stop with that. It wasn't the fact that they were ranked. It was what happened in the moment. You were winning the entire game. They came back. It was a game-winning field goal. It had nothing. Nobody gave a rat's about if they were ranked 21st, 23rd, or 93rd, or whatever the heck you want to call it. The environment was fun. It was because it was a game-winning field goal. Comprehend that. The rankings didn't matter because Illinois was just ranked 9th in the country last week or 2 weeks ago. So understand that part of it. And you're right. They're kids. It was fun. Why do we have to be so darn negative about everything? Why do you care? If you didn't like what they had what you wanted to see, turn the channel. Get off your lazy ass and grab a remote and change the channel because it wouldn't bother me. I could care less if who it was. That doesn't bother me. If I don't want to watch it, change the channel. And I think Illinois people, or if not Illinois people, Illinois football has stunk for so long. I always take a picture, and I'm going to tell people why I do it. I look at that stadium. Do you know what, Matt? I used to go down there, and there was 25,000 people in that stadium. 25,000. There was a time when on the visitor side and home side, east and west side, the school would put blue coverings over the first 15, 20 rows to hide it because no one came to games. Mm-hmm. They were hiding it. Tom Caker told me last year in Iowa City for boys basketball. I didn't know this. Actually Tom mentioned it on one of your podcasts. There was a basketball game in Iowa City and there was paid like 15,000 people, but like 3,000 showed up, but you never saw it. TV never showed it. They only showed the fans. So quit complaining because people are there. Illinois is not just Illinois, regardless of, look at Indiana. That has been their program was worse than Illinois, and that environment 2 weeks ago was amazing. Let these people have fun. Let them enjoy it. I don't want some old person trying to tell me, oh, it was the 21st ranked, whatever the case may be. They're in college. If you've never went to college, I'm sorry. I know I had fun when I went. I enjoyed it, and I'm all for these kids, man. People shouldn't stop doing that. It's ridiculous.
No. I completely agree with you. It's funny. I remember 2018, and it's the game that we talk about too much, probably in your opinion, the 63-0 game. But I think there was 30,000 people, and it was freezing. and there's probably 25,000 people at Memorial Stadium, and I bet you I know more than half were Iowa fans. And so you took it that, and then you look now, heck yeah, celebrate the heck out of it. This is big picture-wise. I love this stat. I saw a few other ones, but I snagged this one. Illinois, Ked, and this is kind of goes to the same thing as the Luke Altmaier comeback wins. Illinois is 5-3 against AP-ranked top 25 teams in the last 2 seasons. From the 2008 Rose Bowl to 2023, Illinois was 3-40 against ranked teams. So they've won 5 games against ranked teams in the last 2 years. Before that, they won 3 in the 15 years before that. 2 words. Brett Bielema, correct?
I was going to say Brett Bielema. You didn't ask 2 words. That's it. I mean, one of my jobs is the biggest part of my job, what I do with this stuff, media, is recruiting. And when I go on the field and I talk to these kids, like yesterday was a great story. I wrote an article yesterday. A kid, this is why Brett Bielema is such a special guy. Right before the kickoff, I looked at the clock. I was interviewing a kid from Guilford, Illinois. And Brett Bielema, any coach should be talking to his team, getting them prepared for the game. This kid told me 12 minutes ago before the kickoff, Brett Bielema was talking to him and offered him a scholarship. Do you know what that kid was just ecstatic by that. And why he's such a good coach and why people like him, he's honest. He is not one of those fake guys. He will recruit a kid. That kid has an offer from Iowa. I mean, Nebraska, Wisconsin. But because Brett did that right before a game against a nationally ranked televised game, against USC, Big Noon Fox, he offered him a scholarship. So it is Bielema. And I heard a radio interview going to the game yesterday. A lot of people like him because he's from the state. How many coaches can say they're from the state that they're coaching? I don't know where Kirk Ferentz is from. I have no idea. But
Pennsylvania.
Okay, and you're getting an opportunity to coach in your home state.
Yeah.
So it is him. And Matt, all that I wanted to cover is to not have what happened 2 weeks ago. I didn't think I would see that again. I bragged about that never happening under him, but he made me proud because the next week, which was Saturday, he followed up with a great win against USC.
No, you're exactly right. I will say this about Kirk. He's from Pennsylvania guy, but when you're in the state of Iowa for the last 45 years, you're kind of an Iowan. So, but I get what you're saying. It's going to be weird when Brett's back in Iowa City as the head coach. It's going to be weird. It's going to be these are going to be. I'm kidding, Ked. I'm kidding. I'm not rushing Kirk out.
It'll be great. But I'll tell you, a lot of people still to this day. Listen, I want to put this to rest right now. Brett Bielema won't be at Iowa, and he won't be at any Big Ten school.
The buyout is huge.
If you saw his buyout, and especially to a Big Ten school, every employee in the state of Iowa would have to donate to it.
Tom Kakert would have to write that check. That's how big it is. I mean, that thing's huge. No, I get you. I want to talk to you about next week because it's now the big rivalry game against Purdue. And I say that mockingly because I get annoyed that we don't have Iowa and Illinois to look forward to again this year. And I don't think next year either. I think it's 2027 before it's Iowa and Illinois playing again, I think. Don't quote me on that. But it's Purdue. I think they're playing better. I know they're playing better. I think I saw like a 9.5 point line. It's at their place. It's a sneaky spot, Ked, because it's emotional victory. And then it's, Ohio State's coming? When? And it's that sandwich game on the road. Thoughts of, I don't want to put cart ahead of horse, and I'm not saying they're going to lose, but it's a sneaky, tough spot for the Illini, is it not?
It is, but if the age matters to this group, it should matter next week because it is a trap game. And I'm going to tell you, Purdue, they don't have a great defense, but they're going to score some points. They're a lot better. They are a lot better than what people think. I know I think they put up 30-something or whatever against Notre Dame. Maybe it was in mop-up time. I didn't watch the game. I'm sorry, I did not even entertain it. But it won't be easy. And I really think if Illinois wins now, I didn't think Illinois – I thought they would struggle against Indiana. And guys, people are probably going to think, kid, I'm going to hold you to this. If they beat Purdue, I like my chances against Ohio State.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you, here's why Ohio State to me doesn't scare me anymore. When I first saw the schedule, It did. But when I see them play, I'm not. No. If they block Luke Altmaier, he's going to put up points. But I don't want to jump the gun. Purdue's first, which is what you asked me about. If they don't fall asleep, and I don't care if they win by half a point,
don't matter.
I know. Just take the W and move on.
Get the heck out of there and come home and get ready for Ohio State. I didn't expect to ask you this question, but it came to my head because I think 63. I've had people tell me, and I kind of agree. I get if they run the table, they're in the postseason. I get all that, but 63-10, they can't lose another game, right?
No, they won't pass the eye test. When the committee looks at that, that's there. Mm-hmm. That is going. They have to, in order for them to jump back up in the rankings, and it will happen, because Indiana was 22nd or 23rd when they beat Illinois. They immediately jumped to 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. If Illinois beats Ohio State, and I'm gonna tell you another trap game to me is at Washington. Mm-hmm. That one scares me a little bit too, because that's not gonna be an easy game. But I will feel much better if they beat Purdue and they beat Ohio State. They should run the table, but that doesn't mean that they will. Then, yes, I think there's an outside chance they'll get in. But they can't argue because they did lose 63-10 or whatever the case, 66, whatever the case may be. It's on their resume. They did it to themselves.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Before I let you go, you mentioned what you do is recruiting. You do it at a high level. You do a great job covering recruiting. I know there was some basketball stories and some recruits in town, and I think while football recruiting is awesome to follow, I know you love the basketball recruiting is such fun. Any tidbits, any information you can give us here and off the air, and then people can go read the rest of it on the Illini guys. Any nugget that you can throw our way?
Well, here's a nugget for you. They had a top 75 basketball recruit, a 4-star recruit, Lucas Murillo, on campus this past weekend. Kid has a lot of good offers from a lot of Power 5 schools. He is an extremely talented kid. Illinois did a tremendous job with a visit with him. I did have an opportunity to ask him what his favorite part was, and he talked about practices and how intense it was, and it was just great for him. They had another kid down there who doesn't have an offer yet, and I was trying to ask him, and I baited him into asking me what was going on with practice and who he liked, and he was telling me the bigger B6 boys were going at it. It was kind of funny because they speak European language, whatever it is, and nobody could understand what was being said, but they were going at each other, and so that part of it was kind of fun. But to answer your question, being able to go out and talk to the recruits and to see what their parents were there. I haven't talked to a parent in a while. At least face to face, I got a good feel for what the parents thought of the visit. Illinois has great facilities, and they're winning. And I think one of the things that the recruits like, especially with Lucas, they put a number of guys in the NBA in the last 4 years. So that's a feather in Brad Underwood's cap.
No, it absolutely is. You can check out all of his recruiting coverage. The Illini guys is the place to go. Check him out on social media. He gives great nuggets there. Still doing articles for WQED as well. He was down in Champaign on Saturday. It's nice to see you happy again and see you smiling. It's amazing what a week can do, isn't it? Like, it. You have the pulse of Illini Nation and all that kind of stuff. You feel I had so many people told me last week, like, they might not win again until later in the year. I had somebody tell me they might lose to Purdue. It's amazing. The lows are low.
Well, do you know why?
The highs
Matt,
are
do you know
high.
why?
Why is that?
It's because they're used to it.
Nope.
Matt, I know you're an Iowa fan, and so you don't understand what it's like.
I'm a Lions fan. I understand what you're saying. They played the Browns on Sunday, and I'm like, no, they're going to beat the Browns, but here I am, like, sweating and like, I don't know, because I don't trust yet. And that's what the Illinois fans, isn't it?
That's why. Yes, man, they've lost for so many games. I think the last time, I'm showing my age here, last time Illinois played USC, one of the games, I was there in Champaign. It was a blowout. It was embarrassing. I think they lost by 40, 50 points. So I'm used to those. I'm used to seeing them have a good team, and then all of a sudden they get beat by 50, and then they win 3 or 4 games. This is different. This is why, if you're an Illinois fan, being a fan right now, they have one of the best golf programs in the entire nation. They're great, not okay, great. Shauna Green has done a tremendous job with the women's basketball program. She even told us in multiple interviews, people thought she was crazy for taking a job because it was horrible. Now they've been to the tournament 2 years under her. She had the best recruiting class of anybody in the Big Ten this year. Brad Underwood's putting guys in the NBA. He's won more Big Ten games than any coach in the Big Ten in the last 6 years. And then you just gave a statistic with Brett Bielema. So, yes, it's a good time to be a fan. And I'll tell you what I mentioned earlier. What I'm really happy to see is the hatred or dislike from Illinois to Iowa. I wasn't lying when I said there are people who graduated from Iowa texting me during the game, and it's hard for me not to respond. I don't like not responding to people, but I'm in the game, I'm trying to tweet, and I'm responding to them, and they're literally, come on, kid, they got it. Come on, they got it. It's nice. It's really nice to see that they're relevant and to see it from people who I know who graduated from Iowa, get master's degrees or played there. It's kind of cool to see that. That's why I said for me, I'm done with that, man. I don't mind them. I really don't.
Think about this for next time, or not next time, but down the road. Iowa and Illinois play one basketball game this year. We have to do something. We have to figure out with you and Tom. There's got to be
creative.
We got to get creative. Because do you think they go to Iowa City? Do you think they go to Iowa City?
I think it's Iowa City. It's Iowa City.
So Tom has that advantage of being in Iowa City, but you still think the Illini win.
They haven't won in 10 years. There's no advantage. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Shots fired.
Listen,
I love it.
Listen, to tell you how things have changed, Illinois has a basketball recruit from Hawkeye, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Let's put that in perspective. A Iowa kid is going to play basketball in Illinois. That should make people roll over in their graves because I didn't think I'd ever see that.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's very true. Well, be thinking about it because I think we can have some fun with this. Ked, I appreciate you as always. Enjoy the victory. We'll probably bug you again next week. I appreciate you.
No problem, but thanks for having me.
All right. That is Kedric Prince with the Illini guys. Follow him on Twitter. And also he does some stuff for WQAD as well on the website. So doing some fantastic job, and what a difference a week can make. And that's exactly what's happened. Illinois flying high, and they get Purdue coming up at Purdue this Saturday. We'll talk more about it throughout the week right here on Off the Air. We got more to get to. Coming up next, we'll hit the high school gridiron and talk to one of the most impressive teams this season, and especially on Friday night, Jeremy Adolphson and Monmouth-Roseville. I owe them an apology because I picked against them. So my apology and much, much more coming up on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll be right back. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday in the Quad Cities. So much great football over the weekend. It started, of course, on Friday night, week 5 of the high school football season. And believe it or not, we are now officially over halfway through the high school football season. So many great matchups on Friday. I thought week 5 shaped up as the best week of the year. There's some people that think week 2 was really good, but it was awesome. And especially in the Three Rivers, in the track, where we had not one, but 2 marquee matchups. Congrats to Rock Ridge. They knocked off Newman in a battle of top 3 teams. We'll talk more about the Rockets later in the week right here on OTA. But in the Mississippi division, it was Monmouth-Roseville continuing their winning ways. They went to Princeton and knocked off the Tigers. And it's a game that I didn't see coming. It's a game that I actually picked Princeton, and I heard about it. So I have an apology, and I figured I might as well bring in the head coach of Monmouth-Roseville and go right to the source. Coach, I know this is hard to hear, but I was wrong. My wife tells me that all the time, but I was wrong. Congratulations. Awesome win.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And no offense taken whatsoever. You have no idea how many times I've messaged Greg or somebody like, hey, here's my pick for this week. Like, this team's going to beat them. It's like an upset, and then it's like a 30-point game the other way. Yeah. So I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know I pick us when we play, I guess, all the time. But no, it was a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic effort by our kids on the road there. I mean, Princeton there was a ton of people there. We had a heck of a crowd, and they got an interesting setup anyway, where all the crowd is right behind the visiting team, and most of their crowd is right behind you, and then your visiting fans are kind of down a little further, kind of away from where a lot of the action was, honestly, most of the night. But what an effort by our guys to get that win and put themselves in a really good spot for a chance at defending the conference title.
So we had Greg and Mitch on from View from the West on Thursday, actually Friday's show. We recorded on Thursday, and they both had picked you guys. So I hopped in and I was like, just to be a little different. I know your staff. Jamie Smith's a good friend of mine. I'm like, I'll be a little different. I picked Princeton, and so on the View from the West podcast, Instant Reacts on Friday night, you were nice enough to join us. I wasn't on just yet. I was like waiting in the wings, and I loved it because I love kids being into high school football and what they're doing. Here's the message I received on View from the West Instant Reacts podcast. Check it out.
I think our guys want to send a quick message to Matt Randazzo and Ty Taylor before we take off. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Never pick against the Titans.
Hey, I learned my lesson, right? I learned my lesson, boys.
Yes. Yeah.
And then do want to point out, like, Greg did learn his lesson because week 1 he picked against you, and now he's throwing me under the bus. I love the fact that the kids, well, they listen. That's a beautiful thing. But also that they care. Kind of talk about that because, yes, it's hard. It's hard for us to pick high school games because you're picking against somebody just as much as you're picking for somebody. But they get into this kind of stuff, and I love that because that's what high school sports is all about.
100%. Yeah, I think the View from the West podcasts and your coverage here off the air throughout the week, the high school's up, and I always, I repost it from my Twitter page. I know not everybody in the world's following that, but like our kids then they catch on, they listen to those parts. And I just think it's cool just for kids to be aware of those forms of media, I guess, more than anything else. Like as a kid, I was a newspaper nerd. Like I literally read the sports section every single day from like first grade on. And the thing I couldn't wait to read was the day after we played a football game, basketball game, baseball game, what they had to say and who the pace setter was back in the day. And I know you have Ness Guest on. Believe it or not, I won Ness Guest when I was 10 years old.
Yes.
He beat me, but I was on the other side of the 10-year-old.
Are you in now? Are you getting in it?
I have not played it. I knew it was going on. I need to get on there and do it. But
I'll send you a link this week. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I got to make sure I get in on that. But it was a basketball season, but I won it as a 10-year-old.
Nice.
But no, I think it's really cool for the kids to get into that stuff, and it's not just a 30-second TikTok or something really, really small. Like to actually hear what people have to say about you, and then the cool thing is, and we're lucky here with local radio and in this area as well. Like that's what everybody wants to hear. Parents want to hear their kids talked about positively. Kids want to hear themselves and their teammates talked about positively, and that's something our kids have really gotten into the last several years. So, you're gaining some listeners, at least for the short term. I don't know if they'll keep doing it as they get older, but I just think it's cool because it just builds excitement. Like you've said many times before, like you start talking about these things and it generates more excitement and there's a little more knowledge of what's going on. And even just simple things like if you watch the comments there, you can see a parent or a fan of another school is commenting on somebody else's team, but like, would they have paid attention if they hadn't heard the preview with you and Ty Taylor talking about it during the week? It's just a really cool thing. And obviously, in sports, we all know that we all look for those slights. We all look for those things that are motivational, like the Michael Jordan stuff, right? Like no matter what you said to him, he found a way to take it personally and negatively, and it drove him. And we're in the business of trying to find motivation because it's hard. It's football's a tough sport and the game is tough and play-by-play is tough. So, if you find a few things that get you fired up that you're going to feel good about afterwards, more power to our guys, and it helps us out as coaches.
Coach, you mentioned growing up, I did the same thing. We got the Times and the Dispatch, Rock Island Argus. And when I was young, the Dispatch, Rock Island Argus came in the afternoon. So it was like you led one in the morning and the one in the afternoon. I was that dork that like I would sit at 10 o'clock at night and I would flip from, I'd know that like TC came on at this time, then I'd flip over to Wildman, then I'd get back over to Don Sharp or whatever it was. And so, that's what I love. And I love to see it. Hey, forget about me and us and this goofy little me picking against you. Your team's playing really good football, and that's a good team. Princeton, I know you have a ton of respect for. What was it on Friday night? It seemed like the same recipe for success worked in Princeton. Talk about you guys and what they did to be successful on Friday night.
Just really good up front. Again, really all game long. We were able to run the football really effectively. Ended up just under 330 yards rushing. Nick Houston 156 or 158, somewhere in there, 19 carries for him. Then Landon Montour, our fullback, takes 24 more carries. He goes for 120-some yards. Then Lars Bergman actually had some really big runs, which our third back. He had 9 carries for 55, 56 yards, and just did a great job up front all night of being able to move the ball and be physical. And Princeton's smaller than they've been in a while up front on defense, and then even young a little bit, some of the spots. Very aggressive, very fast, all over the place, but we kind of slowed their speed down. I think once they ran into us a few times, I think it started to wear them down a little bit. And we even completed a couple passes. I think we were 2 for 3 throwing the ball. Had a big one right before half to get it down inside the 10 to help set up that score. And then defensively, the same thing. They really became a perimeter pass team after about the first quarter. They rushed for a total of 26 yards all night, and really – sure all 26 were probably in the first quarter and a half. And this kind of catch us on the outside because we're not a terribly fast team, but our kids did a good job covering things up. They caught us on a couple plays on the perimeter. The Etheridge kid's too good to hold them down all night, so we popped a swing pass, ended up going the distance. But, just executed at a really high level, tackled well. They had trouble tackling our guys. with one guy especially, we were falling forward a lot and just executed when we had to at a very high level. And that's the thing about this group. Like, we met yesterday. I'm still not sold that like we're more talented this year than we were last year by any means, which is what we lost and what we bring in. But we sure have played better, I think, on a more consistent basis so far. We just haven't had a bad quarter, a bad drive. Like we've had a couple bad plays here or there that have led to something negative, but really just haven't had a time where we've struggled to move the ball or struggled to play defense. And that's really a testament to the kids. That's their level of focus and them not relaxing when we've had opportunities probably to relax really in all 5 weeks.
Jeremy Adolphson from Monmouth-Roseville joining us right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, you've done a great job for so long, and the program is where it is, and it's elevated to a high level. And you've always talked about getting Monmouth-Roseville football in the same breath as the Newmans and the Rock Ridges and the Princetons that you just play. Kind of talk about big picture-wise, because it's something that's been sustained. And you talked about maybe talent isn't, but execution is. That comes with getting a program to the level that you want it at. I'm sure you guys are proud, but talk big picture-wise of where your program's kind of gotten to here in 2025.
Yeah, that was a big goal for our guys this year, to get 5 years in a row in the playoffs, which now looks like we're in a pretty good spot for that with 5 wins. And That spans beyond any group. The kids that are seniors now were 8th graders when that thing got started. And then as sophomores, they helped us win a playoff game, which we hadn't done since 2018. And then last year, all the first that kind of came along with that. But then the disappointing ending leads to a lot of motivation for those kids coming right back. But, to have an opportunity to defend the conference title after never winning one outright till last year and hopefully keep doing what we need to do to hopefully get more home games, get home playoff games and whatnot. But yeah, I think, it's been pretty evident in the track that, it's Newman and Rockridge on the other side for sure. And those other teams have all had their times where they've been really good. But they've been the consistent ones. When you say the name, they're going to win 7+ games a year. And then Princeton, obviously, on our side. Once we got in the conference in 17, we beat them that year. And after that, never beat them until last year. And they won the conference every single year after that. We had a share with them way back in 18, and then they kind of took it over. So I think maybe last week possibly gets us to where, now there is that 4th team that you mentioned as far as being really good and, not just making the playoffs, but now you're a team that's a conference title contender that can play with the best teams. So, and it's a huge testament to our guys because, again, our top-end seniors, those guys are talented. They're good. They were part of why we won as, 2 years ago because they were playing their varsity starters, some of them two-way starters as sophomores. And then obviously doing what they did last year as juniors and leading us now. And I do think their level, their standard, the other guys have just kind of rose to that. And then the younger kids have played so well, and the inexperienced seniors even have played so well that that feels more like a program thing than, hey, this kid happens to be strong and good. It's more, this is how we do things here. And we talk to our young, our JV time, when things aren't going well, there's a standard for how we do things. You don't have to always win, but there's a way we do things and we think it's pretty good. And we've just seen them really run with it, and so obviously super, super happy. It's awesome waking up Saturday morning, you're 5-0 and you just think about, man, when I woke up the morning before, was 36-8 really a possibility? It probably wasn't. I thought we could win. I thought we could win maybe by a couple touchdowns, but at halftime we're at 14-0, and I just felt like it was 30-0. It just felt like it was ours at that point, and then the kids went out and played like that.
Coach, you mentioned you're 5-0, and that's exciting. It's awesome, I know, and you coaches know there's a lot of football to be played. How do you celebrate? It's a balancing act because so many times I say to coaches, you don't want the kids to not enjoy it. This is fun. This is football. This is what you're supposed to be doing. But on the other side, as coaches, you don't want them to enjoy too much because I'm sure you could look at film and say, I don't like that, and that's got to get better. Talk about the rest of the way and some big games coming up. I believe Rockridge is still on the schedule. Is Newman on the schedule?
Yep, both. We get the top two on the other side.
With that side, Sherrard coming up next. How do you make sure they don't get too carried with Greg and Mitch talking all great about them? Let me know if you need me to burst any bubbles. I can do it. But how do you keep them level, I guess, with a lot more football left to play?
Yeah, we've got a lot of corrections that need to be made on film. It's weird to say someone just sees the score and watches the game man, you guys are awesome on Friday, and we were our effort and our aggressiveness, all that stuff was great. And at times it even hid some things that probably weren't exactly how we need to be doing them with our eyes or with our feet or with our hands or whatever it may be. And so I put on the practice plan for this week. We're going to try to give them a little bit less time on the field because you're at that point in the year where you kind of need to get your legs back a little bit. And but I put on our focus this week is huge because it's not about just Sherrard this week. We need to go beat Sherrard for sure. But it can't just be about doing what it takes to beat them because we could probably do a lot of things with, the number of kids we have and the issues they're dealing with injuries and numbers where we could get away with one. But if we want to be a team that's going to win playoff games, which we didn't do last year, and go compete with the best teams left on our schedule, we've got to keep taking steps forward, which we've been really good at so far this year. But I think that's got to be the thing. But we absolutely want them to enjoy it. We absolutely want them to relish in what they've done. And so, it's even Friday after the game, there's two things I got to tell them so that we don't do something dumb either before we leave or during the weekend or whatever. So let me start with the serious stuff and then we'll get to the fun stuff. And then you guys can go and enjoy your weekend. But it's honestly, I would much rather have a team like this where you got to kind of scare them a little bit than a team that isn't playing as well as they can. And you got to figure out a way to kind of pull that out of them. I think it's a little easier to coach guys, especially after a win. Like, hey, this worked and we won, but dang it, man, if we want to be really good, look at what all we can do a little differently. And I think that's motivating for kids because it's a big win for them. But I know that they're looking at wins down the road that they want to have because they want to play football as long as possible. And selfishly, I want to be around these guys as long as possible. So you got to improve to do that. Week 5 can't be the highlight.
Jeremy Adolphson from Monmouth-Roseville, a few more before I let you go. That community, and obviously coaches can come in and do what they want to do, and you need the players and all that kind of stuff. But I always say, like, you have to have that administration, that community, all of those kind of things. And I've been down there, and I know what it's like at Monmouth. Kind of talk to that because you guys can do everything you can coaching staff-wise and players and coach them up, but it takes the entire community to build something that lasts, I believe. Kind of talk about that because I know you have that at Monmouth, and you're pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I had great support ever since I got here in 2011, and we had obviously – years we were really good and years we weren't good enough to make the playoffs there, more years than not. In those first 7-8 years, we were able to have a couple really good teams, and then every other team fell just short of even making the playoffs. And then kind of after COVID, we got things rolling with some consistency here as far as playoffs and scheduling and now, conference championships and whatnot. So that's been awesome. Part of it is I've got 2 assistants, Kevin Ferry and Dan Morrison. They were with me in 2011. They're still there, and that's our offensive coordinator and our special teams guy for the varsity. We've been together this entire time and had great coaches in and out since then. Got the rest of my staff right now have paid coaches that are former players, guys that played on those teams that were in 12 and 18 that had success. So we're just and everybody's a teacher. We have 5 paid coaches and everybody teaches in the high school. I don't think that happens anywhere, so that's awesome. But yeah, the support of the administration, the school board, everybody, our superintendent, Mr. Fletcher, coached 2 of his boys that were on playoff teams and a quarterfinal team. And my administration right now are Eric Matthews and Nate Johnson, former ADs, and I'm the AD and football coach. So the support there is obviously awesome. And then our parental support has always been really good. But I will say in the last 3 to 4 years, there's even been a step up there where you've seen, but the massive helmet we run out from, that was purchased by parents. They figured out how to get that thing done. And just the team meals, the meals before the bus rides, the meals after the bus rides, there's just so many things that within the community, and they're all sponsored. These aren't parents necessarily making stuff unless they want to, but it's businesses kicking us $400 to make sure the kids get to eat a good meal on Thursday night, and people who are known for their ability to cook around town showing up and donating their time to do that as well. So it's a really cool thing, and we try to really impress upon the kids that the experience you have here is amazing. I just want to make sure you understand this is not everywhere. There's plenty of places where there isn't a radio station doing every single one of your games. There isn't a team meal on Thursday night. There isn't food before the bus. There isn't food after the bus. That doesn't happen everywhere, but you're just used to it because the people around here have been so great. And I don't lose sight of the fact that that's a huge part because sometimes you might get a young kid who just sticks with football because Thursday night's a really good meal, it's, yeah. and later on they figure out, hey, I'm pretty good at this thing, and so it's all those extras that are helpful for keeping kids around that maybe, 15 years ago might have found something else to do in the fall.
Coach, remember this, I may have picked against you against Princeton. Princeton's really, Greg, week 1, Greg threw you under the bus. Week 1, never forget that. Right. Never forget that. Keep that in the back of your mind as we move along. And do me a favor, one of your players, sophomore Keegan Smith, make sure you yell at him for me today. That's my guy. Can't get awesome human being, awesome kid. Yell at him extra for me, and do it because of his old man, because his old man deserves it. So yell at him a little extra. Best of luck against Sherrard. Stay healthy, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon because, like you mentioned, big games with Newman coming up and Rock Ridge. A lot of great football in the track. Thank you for your time. Always appreciate you, my man. We'll talk to you again soon.
We appreciate the coverage, Matt. Love the show. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That is Jeremy Adolphson, the track, entertaining on Friday, and we just kind of talked about it. We get to look forward to Monmouth-Roseville and Newman, Monmouth-Roseville and Rock Ridge. So many great matchups the rest of the way when it comes to the Three Rivers and high school football in general. I will remind people we'll take the show on the road again this Friday. We're going to head to Browning Field and check in with Moline playing some of the best football in the entire state right now and in the Western Big Six. And they got a home game against Rock Island, one of the best rivalries in the state of Illinois. So we'll be at Browning Field, and that new turf and everything on Friday should be a ton of fun. But that's Friday. We got a lot more to get to here on today's show. Coming up after the break, little Marxy Monday. John Marx will join me to talk about everything when it comes to the world of sports. I got opinions as well. Bears fans are coming at me. It's been a fun weekend, so a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Monday. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday, September 29th. I love my Mondays because there's so many things to talk about. When I started this show, 9 months ago maybe, there were some times I'm like, how am I going to fill up an entire show every single day? This is not a problem this time of year. So many great things going on when it comes to Ryder Cup. We haven't even talked about much today. Obviously, there's baseball starting this week with the postseason. Football is king. So speaking of king, it's our Marxy Mondays with King John Marx. I called you Jim Marx.
Wow.
John Marx joining me right now. Happy Monday, my friend. A lot to get to. It was a fun weekend of football and everything else.
Thanks, pal. Yeah, it was a strange weekend as you and we started off Friday night that you and I got to spend time together doing the Riverdale Orion game. We knew it was going to be a contrast of two styles, and Orion had an opportunity to win the football game. I thought Riverdale kind of gave it back to him at the end of the first half with the interception. But for me, Maddie, a high school team rushed for 401 yards. That does my heart good.
It was a contrast of styles. I'll tell you this too, Johnny. 2 weeks ago, we did a volleyball game between North Scott and Pleasant Valley. That was amazing and a great comeback win for North Scott. That game on Friday was really good. I don't know if it's me, but maybe you want to tell the people there, good things happen when we team up together.
I know.
It was a lot of fun. It was a blast.
I always have a good time. Yeah. And anytime I can hang out with you, pal.
I'll mention too, because we're just a bunch of idiots. The crew there and what they do, and it's as professional as you get. And Duke's there, just being awesome. Did you see? I had put on social media. Duke came over and visited the tailgate show. So that people ask me, what's the Ambrose advantage? It's 20 some years after leaving the school, having one of your mentors and your favorite professor, and now your friend back then too, stop and take the time to come see you when you're doing a Hawkeye pregame show.
And there's a caveat to that. You getting to induct him, his introductory speech into the Ambrose Hall of Fame, which he is much deserved and maybe a little longer than it should have. But yes, that's what you talk about in the relationship side of it.
It gives me chills. We'll talk. In fact, we're going to have Duke on the show in October to kind of talk about the Hall of Fame, because he affected a lot of students that you know of, that you don't know of, all those kind of things as well. So a lot to get to, and I love to be opinionated, and there's no better person to be opinionated with than John Marx. I want to start with the Bears, because I have Bears fans coming at me, not in droves, and they should be excited. And I'm not trying to downgrade anything. The Bears actually have a winning streak, Johnny. They beat the Raiders 25-24 on the road yesterday. I guess my statement to you, and you can tell me reaction, overreaction, the Bears will be a playoff team this year.
Don't think so, unless you're taking that. I still think it's 9-8, and it comes down to a tiebreaker in that division. Again, if they can find a way to get to 10-7, I don't know, Maddie. With all the good things, and I'm a Bears fan, and I can name you Rudy Bukic and Bobby Douglas, and I can go all the way back to the frustration Sundays with sitting next to my father. The key, Maddie, is they can't run. You're not going to be a dominant, and you have to be. The defensive, you can run the football against them. They gave up 200 again. The other side of it is, Maddie, they only rushed for 69 yards. Yeah. That's embarrassing. And whether that's up front, whether that's and they do a better job of protecting, whether this is, as you said, part of the Ben Johnson year one plan is to improve things up front. They're getting better with pre-snap penalties. I applaud that. But, the other teams are still, when you rush against a team in the NFL for 200 plus again, my goodness, that you got to be careful. Yeah. It's and they're not really, really good on the back end because of injuries right now. So your 3 techniques, your 5 techniques got to get better. Your guys in the middle, they're tackling machines because your people up front are getting beat. So there's some work there. Again, a year ago, you were the biggest Ben Johnson fan in the world. He got a little arrogant, got a little off the rails a tad, but I think he's the right guy, and it will turn. But there are some key things in there that need to be fixed.
No, and I'll say this, and I get it, because the quarterback is going to be the quarterback, and he's the number 1 overall pick, and that's what everybody's going to talk about, and I get it. I know the world of football, but this had nothing to do with Caleb. That game yesterday had zero. He was fine. He wasn't good. How many times they get the ball and they settled for field goals? I think his stats, and I got yelled at for being a stats guy on awesome social media, but stats are stats. They still 212 yards, a touchdown, an interception. I watched the game, and I wasn't saying he was bad. I'm not. They didn't win that game because of Caleb. They didn't lose that game because of Caleb. It was the other things, and Bears fans should embrace that. You blocked a field goal. You had 4 more turnovers, Johnny. That's 8 turnovers, 8 takeaways. Yep. 8 takeaways in 2 weeks. That's why you won. But I'll put this as a caveat. It took 8 takeaways it took 4 takeaways to barely beat a bad football team. So and it's different than last year. They don't win this game last year. They don't win it. And it's because of the coaching staff and Dennis Allen on the defensive side and Ben Johnson and all those kind of things. So they're taking steps forward. You mentioned they're depleted in the secondary. They are. There's so many flaws you can talk about. They're not running the football. We can go through all those. And I like to do that because I don't like the Bears, but I don't want to be that guy. And I'm not trying to be that guy. They're taking steps forward. Ben's doing a good job. I joked because they ran Stumble Bum, which was the play last year that it didn't work. But you know what? They ran plays that did work. And that's what's great about Ben Johnson. Every trick play the Lions ran last year didn't work. A lot of them did, but they didn't all work. We just heard all about the ones that work. And you heard about the flea flicker last week because that works. So I think it's a great step forward. I think the division is intriguing because we'll talk about the Packers in a second. I'm sorry, but the Vikings in general, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. You're not going to win enough games to make the playoffs. So that's an issue and a concern. And the Lions have now won 3 straight. So we'll talk about the Packers in a second. But Bears-wise, yes, it's so much better than it was last year. But just enjoy it. I don't know if it's better. It is, because they don't win that game last year, Johnny. They don't win that. The coaching is better, but the schedule gets more difficult. They're not a playoff team.
Absolutely.
But take it. Bears fans, I don't want to say all of them, they want instant gratification. They want, hey, we want to go from being the worst team in the league to now being in the postseason. It doesn't happen that way. Take this step. This is year 1 under Ben Johnson. I hate to say this, Johnny, but he's the right guy. He is.
Absolutely.
He's going to make mistakes and all those kind of things, but he is the right guy, and build on it from there and take a win when you can take a win. My overall theme is yesterday's win had nothing to do with Caleb Johnson. Or not Johnson, excuse me, Caleb Williams. It was defense and all those kind of things. Caleb didn't play bad, but he didn't win a game for him by any stretch. So your thoughts?
And hopefully they'll have to be that. And hopefully they'll, if you're a Bears fan, that day will come where he'll take over a football game and be the guy. If it didn't call for it, yes, they beat a program looking to find its way as well. I think eventually, as long as you have Tom Brady and inside your hierarchy, you're going to be, some things are going to change, and there'll be good things come about in Las Vegas. To the Bears, you again go back. You have to stop the people running the football in the NFL, because it sets up to makes other entities, if you have a gifted quarterback, easy. You have to be able to run the ball, and that's the bottom line. And that's one of the reasons Caleb Williams' stats are average, is because he's asked to do a little too much. And you need to incorporate your entire receiving core with Adunze, Johnson, et cetera. And then Luther Burden, -3. Come on. Yeah. I still think he's the greatest 3rd-round pick. And again, I watched the film too. And if it scared the kid sitting next to me, it scared me as well. He's so gifted. You need to get him involved in every opportunity, and just utilize. And you have a 1st-round tight end that you invested in. Yeah. You gotta be able to spread the football. But again, it goes back to me, Maddie. You have to run the ball. Yeah, and 69 yards in the NFL is not enough.
And so, and again, this was no bash at Caleb Williams. Yesterday's game wasn't he's a star, and it's not, he's a bust. It's a work in progress, and you're going to see how it goes throughout the year. I love it, because you look at, and we talked about this maybe a few weeks ago, so many quarterbacks in football are either really good when they're first year and then they're bad, or vice versa. You have to give people time. I know it's a give me satisfaction now, instant gratification type of world, but we're not going to get it there. I don't know did you stay up late enough to watch the Packers last night?
Intermittently, when we got back in town, intermittently, defensively, that was, well, you had two football teams that are nightmarish right now. Defensively, Dallas is again matador defense on
they're
everything.
32nd in the league, Johnny. They're the worst defense in football.
Okay, that does nothing but warm my heart, because I loathe the Dallas Cowboys, and I think the guy, I know he signs the checks, but he needs to get out of the front office. Yeah. That's his stamp. I know he has 3 Super Bowls. I know he made $1 billion in the oil industry, and he's as shady Grady as it gets when it comes to NFLness. But he and Steven are not football. Now, I know, and Jerry Jones played the game, but they're not savvy when it comes to those type decisions, and they should leave those to people who do it. And you got to get better defensively.
Johnny, how are we in 2025 still having ties in football? Am I just you might disagree and say, hey, it's part of the game. I just think it's ridiculous. I don't like the fact that soccer games can tie. I don't think I like the fact that anything can
don't
tie.
get me in trouble.
Yeah, I know. I'll be careful. How do you do all that, and you have everything and video replay, and we're making sure that the spot is 9 inches away from a first down and all these kind of things, and we can't play an extra 10 minutes of football so that we have a winner at the end of a Sunday night football game? I just think it's ridiculous.
Great point. Okay, Maddie, how much fun do you have if maybe your team or somebody that you're invested in that Saturday or enjoy watching is in the 4th overtime, and inside at the 25-yard line going in, and then they either have to go for 2 or whatever, and then you're extended, and the game's the fourth, fifth, sixth overtime. I think go back, use the college rules, set it at 25, tee it up, see what happens, and go till someone drops.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like the back and forth of winning the coin toss and playing defensive, make it defensive. No, go with the 25, or high school, go with the 10 and wait till it gets to 100. Just anything but a game in it. I'm with you.
And viewers aren't going away, Johnny. Viewers aren't going away. Like, it's not like if you went to another overtime, people are going to go, oh, I'm done. Like, I mean, they want to see it, and the NFL is king, so give the fans what they want. And then it's weird because I was happy as a Lions fan because I feel like that's a loss for the Packers. I mean, yes, it's better than a win, but it's still. I mean, you look at the standings today, and the Lions are in first place, and then it's the Packers, and then the Vikings and Bears, or Bears and Vikings. I'll put Bears first so that they don't yell at me and all that kind of stuff. But I just think it's silly. I'll say this, too, about the Packers. Week 1 was the biggest overreaction in the world because everyone crowned them as Super Bowl champions. And now wait this week. This week will be an overreaction as well because it'll be doom and gloom. And guess what's really the reality of it is somewhere in the middle where they're a good football team. And we'll wait till week 17, 18 in the playoffs to see how healthy you are, if you make plays. But they're in the same group of teams with the Eagles and Packers and Lions and Bucks and all those kind of things that can make a Super Bowl. And just the overreactions in week 1, the overreactions probably happening now, and usually, and you know this, it's somewhere in the middle. One last NFL note: Adonde Mitchell for the Colts, and like he feels horrible, and it wasn't like Johnny. There's sometimes where you're like high stepping and acting like an idiot and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't overly taunting or anything like that. He just dropped the football. And it cost his team 7 points. It cost his team maybe a victory. I know John Marx is here. John Marx, go away. Bring me Coach Marx. Like Thomas Smith is watching this and laughing his butt off because Coach Marx just showed up. What would you say to that young man after that play?
Maddie, where was he holding the football as he crossed that? Or so?
Not like this, like that.
No, was it high and tight?
No.
Okay, was if someone, you're always taught high and tight no matter what, and if you're in the open going anywhere, take that top hand, tuck it back here. It's because guys, you teach people to punch or to swat. Yeah. So first of all, great play. Come here, young man. I would put my arm around him, and then I would bend both of our heads down just a little, and I would chew him so no one would see. You know, with the TV cameras, or if the high school level, mommies and daddies aren't going to see. I have my arm around, we're hugging it out, and I am just railing on this young person because it's not going to. Now, it will never happen again in this situation, but I am not going to embarrass him right there. Again, arm around, but I am chewing at it different. It'll be a different vocabulary, Maddie, at the professional level, and I'm the king of the F-bomb, but I would use it in a different way if I had a high schooler with my arm around him. And if I did cuss with a high schooler, I said, look, you have no proof. Second of all, my wife's an attorney, and I'll go to court and deny it. So I'm just chewing him no matter what.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm not embarrassing him.
No,
I'm just not throwing. And nobody's thrown my play sheet in the air more than I have coaching high school football and throw my arms up. Same with baseball, but that's a learning experience. You move on, but I'm chewing him privately right there with my arm around so the world knows. But dude, act like, see, I yell at high school kids when we do TV, Maddie, when they get up and do stuff.
You did on Friday night. You said, stop.
I did.
Don't look at him. Just go back to the,
you're too good a football player.
Now, Johnny, everybody knows I'm a Lions fan, so I grew up watching Barry Sanders, and that's me. What you do, like, and sometimes like Barry would be like, I'm celebrating in my living room as a youngster, giving high fives, and Barry's just handing the ball to the referee every single time. Johnny, every single time he scored a touchdown, he found the referee and handed him the ball, and so I kind of get annoyed by the victory stuff. My kids love it and all the dances they get to do now, all that kind of stuff. You know what? Just if you're fighting the referee with the football, you score that touchdown, you may be 4-0 this morning. So I always go back to Barry Sanders when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And I need to take that a step farther and preface some things that in high school, my son never did anything like that. But in college and even in practice, he celebrates. Maddie, I saw him light up a return guy last year at Buffalo and stand over him. And he told me exactly what he called him. And when he made a tackle, and it wasn't like, "Hey, how's your mom? I hope life is good." So I can't even police it in my own house.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, it was interesting, man. I didn't see it live. I got some text messages. I went and looked, and horrifying.
But it all should be Barry Sanders is the way it should be played.
Yeah, no, 100%. A little college football. The Hawkeyes now 3-2. They have Oregon, Penn State, USC, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota. The Hawkeyes will finish 500 or worse this year. Reaction, overreaction?
Overreaction. That would I like to see more out of your $1 million quarterback? Sure. And I'd like to see a little bit more things offensively. Maddie, they stopped an offense that's pretty good. On Saturday, and you were there, and you understand. I watched some huddle stuff on it. They're not a bad football team. I don't think anybody, but I think one of the things that's a problem is they all don't believe in certain things within the framework of the program. They're pretty good. They'll beat USC because of their defense. In Illinois, that was a track meet that turned out to be beautiful for Illinois. Again, they're going to win. Minnesota, they'll finish above 500. I think it's a 7-win football team. And that's the beauty of Phil Parker and Coach Ferentz and the guys on the defensive side. It might be an 8-win football team. Don't panic, please. Yep. Illinois people were headed for the bridge after 63-10. And I get that. Indiana's pretty good. Yes. Signetti, Google it. I win. I get that. Mm-hmm. That's the anti-Coach Ferentz who is, but they're going to be fine. Be thankful you're not Arkansas and Bobby Petrino's taking over. I am. Oh my God. Yeah. So all heck will break loose there. So no, if they finish under 500, that's on me. But I don't see it happening, Maddie. I don't see them being a 4-8 team. I don't see them being a 5-7 football team. I see them at least winning 6. I see them winning 7, and going on and moving and adjusting to the way of the world. So don't do this.
We had Pat Angerer on the show earlier, obviously, and he's right. Like your 2 losses are against 2 top 15 teams by a score. When you were in both games. Yep. So, and that staff, and it's a bye week, and they go to Wisconsin. I don't know if they get to Wisconsin with Luke Fickell being there. They got to go to Michigan this week, or I don't know where the game's at, but they got Michigan this week. The natives are restless up in Wisconsin way more than they are in Iowa or Illinois and anywhere else.
Can you take that a step further as somebody who watches this stuff really intently? They need to clean up their op times and their special teams work. And just not clean up, maybe tighten it a bit, because I think that's and again, I don't mean I'm no expert, but I watch a ton of that only from what's sent to me through the years, and they need to it's horrible at the high school level the way kids snap the football, but you need to get better there, better hold, better kick. And that'll come too. Yeah,
it's funny because the special teams has been so good, and Drew Stevens is such a good kicker, and we all know that. And Weejan's been fantastic, but it's boom or bust, because it's not. There's been the bad plays have been costly, and it cost them on Saturday at Kinnick Stadium. Yep. Couple quick ones for you before we let you go. Okay, the Illini bounce back. You mentioned it. Even if Illinois runs the table, they can't be in the college football playoff because of 63-10 last week. Reaction,
Absolutely.
overreaction.
Overreaction, my goodness. They just beat a really good football team. And I see it. I haven't seen the film, but I DVD'd it or DVR'd, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll watch it tonight. I listened to it on the radio and going from the worst drive of my life, 7+ hours, but we'll just leave it at that. And remember, Maddie, they fumbled at the goal line at the end of the first half. Illinois did. So think about that offensively and the trickery and some of the they got the Rochester kid throwing, the Beatty kid who's returned a kick and thrown for a touchdown and caught a touchdown. They have 1,000 weapons, and they're going to be just fine. Ignore it. Again, it just shows you how good Iowa's defense is. Throw that out the window. That if they run the table and throw a 45 or a 50 on somebody down the stretch, come on, man.
See, that's the caveat is Ohio State's there. And if so running the table means you beat Ohio State, which probably gets you back in it. I think if they go 10-2, I think 10-2 might have been good enough to start the season. I think if they're 10-2, that 63-10 is just it's on the resume. You can't get rid of it. All those kind of things. And
but
I got go ahead.
You're cashing a New Year's Day check then.
Yeah.
Of
no,
10 million.
Absolutely.
And
we remember it's not. We talked with Kedric Prince in the show earlier in today's show, and I think they're between 08 and 23. So those 15
Don't get greedy,
years,
folks.
They won 3 of 43 games against ranked teams. The last 2 years under Brett Bielema, they're 5-3. So they won 5 in the last 2 years. They won 3 the last 15 before that. So, playoff baseball is back on the north side of Chicago. I know you hate it. Pitching injuries, obviously with Cade Horton being out and then Steele to start the season, pitching injuries will be too much to overcome for the Cubs this postseason.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's the issue. But Nico Horner is my favorite player in baseball.
Wow.
Please. Yeah, my father just turned twice in his grave that I mentioned that. But again, do I want the Cubs to win? No. Do I like anybody that has that kind of offense can overcome some pitching? But you're going to need four guys to give you at least 75 to 95 pitches, get you to the 5th inning. I don't know if that they're that good on the back end right now with Palencia, but they're really good. They can score. If Kyle Tucker's healthy, they can drop a 10 bomb on you in a hurry. He's another one of my favorite guys. The guy that played with the Dodgers, that played with the Mets,
Justin Turner.
Justin Turner is the other favorite player of mine. This kills me. All my favorite guys are playing
amazing.
With the Cubs. I know. I don't like. And I refuse to say PCA and buy into all that. Anybody that tells you that, they don't know anything about the game. His name's Pete Crow Armstrong, and his mom was a pretty good actress. So, but keep in mind, he just picked things up at the end of the season after struggling after the All-Star break. So for him to hit, after hitting under 200, to hit 247 and have 30 and 90, hats off. But Dansby Swanson is the best defender in baseball. Ian Happ is a Gold Glover. They have all the tools to do things, but they're going to need one more arm in the middle of that rotation.
Yeah, it's the Cubs and Padres, 2:00 on Tuesday. My kids know that because they can't wait to get out of school to watch some playoff baseball, and that's the beauty.
Well, don't you get them out early for that?
You know what? I probably could.
You should. You should be a doctor's appointment.
It could be the same thing as I hope Mrs. Randazzo is not listening to this because I don't know if she'll be on board with that. But maybe every so often I get my way once in a while. So, Johnny, I love my Marxy Mondays. Appreciate it. We'll catch up again next week. Thanks, my friend.
Love you, brother.
All right. That is John Marx talking sports. And that's what I love about this part of the show is you can do, you can have good interviews and all those kind of things. But to be able to just talk sports, the old sports talk that I listened to growing up on K-Jock and all those kind of things we can do right here and off there with Matt Randazzo. We'll wrap up the show and kind of set the week up for what we look like coming up. A lot of stuff to get to throughout the week. We'll do that and a little bit more right after the break. This is Off the Air on a Monday. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Monday, September 29th, and it's been a jam-packed show to start the week. We want to thank Pat Angerer for joining us off the top, talking to some Iowa-Indiana football, recapping the homecoming game that was so close for the Hawkeyes, and kind of looking ahead to the bye week and then after the bye week and where this football team is at after 5 games. We also want to thank Kedric Prince, Ked smiling on a Monday, the Illini with a big victory over USC, what it means, the bounce back, and then also what's next, Purdue, Ohio State after that. So thanks again to Ked for joining us. If you missed it, go back and check it out. Jeremy Adolphson from Monmouth-Roseville got an apology from me. How dare I pick against the Titans. So that was a ton of fun. Monmouth-Roseville 5-0 on this season, playing some really good football. So check out Jeremy Adolphson if you missed him as well. And then Marxy Monday, John Marx and I going through a lot of stuff going on in the world of sports, some football, some college football, Bears talk, all that kind of stuff, a little baseball as well. So fun show. It's been a great way to start the week. A couple reminders. We will take OTA on the road again this Friday. We'll be at Browning Field for Rock Island versus Moline, a huge rivalry. Moline playing some really good football, arguably some of the best football in the state of Illinois, the best football in the Western Big Six, undefeated, shutting out Quincy this past week. So we'll have more from Moline on Friday. Again, the Cubs in postseason action coming up tomorrow, Tuesday at 2 p.m. So a lot to get to this week. We got Jake Brend later in the week as well. Hoping to line up Iowa assistant basketball coach Josh Sash as well. So a bunch to get to here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I want to thank you guys for watching, however you're watching, and we will be back again on Tuesday. Have a great Monday, Quad Cities.